Good morning. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the recommending committee for February 5th, 2024. And I'm going to ask Ms. Jackie if we are in compliance with the open meeting law.
Yes, we are.
And thank you everyone for coming. This period of the agenda is dedicated to public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this agenda? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to item number 4 for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference of the January 16th, 2024 recommending committee meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Please vote and post. And that motion passes. Item number 5 is bill number 2024-1 for possible action. This is the annexation number 22-0516-ANX1. Property location is the northwest corner of Alexander Road and Durango Drive. Petitioned by Isaacman Revocable Trust et al. Acreage is 10.41 acres, zoned RE county zoning, RE city equivalent. This is sponsored by Councilman Francis Allen Polinsky. I will turn it over to Mr. Lowenstein. One of you have to speak.
Seth Floyd for the record. Yeah, the two annexations that are on are in order, and unless there's anything you'd like us to share, they're good to go and ready for your vote.
Very good, and this is a public hearing. If anybody would like to comment on item number 5. Hearing and seeing none, are there any questions up here? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve item number 5.
There's a motion. Please vote and post, and that passes. And this bill will be eligible for adoption at the City Council meeting of February 21st, 2024. Item number 6, bill number 2024-2 for possible action. This is the annexation number 22-0513, ANX1. Property location is the northeast corner of Alexander Road and Durango Drive. Petitioned by Isaacman Revocable Trust et al. Acreage is 2.59 acres, zoned RE county zoning, RE city equivalent, sponsored by Councilman Francis Allen Polinsky. And I understand this is also in order and entertain.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Seth Floyd for the record. This one is also in order.
Perfect. And this is a public hearing. If anybody would like to comment on item number 6. Hearing and seeing none. Any questions up here?
Welcome to the City of Las Vegas.
I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to move we approve item number 6.
And there's a motion. Please vote and post, and that item passes. This item will be eligible for adoption at the City Council meeting of February 21st, 2024. And we are now on to item number 7, citizen participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the committee. No subject may be acted upon by the committee unless the subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. Is there anybody that would like to comment? Please. Good morning, how are you?
Well, thank you. Members of the City Council, my name is Jessica Bosch. I stand before you today, not only as a resident of Las Vegas, but also as a child's mental health care professional. I am deeply concerned about the urgent need for a ceasefire resolution from the Las Vegas City Council. The connection between our city's financial contributions and the well-being of children, especially in Gaza, is a pressing matter that demands our attention. In Gaza, 1 million children are in desperate need of mental health services, facing unimaginable trauma and distress. It is a heart-wrenching reality that more than 11,000 innocent children have died since October 2023 in Gaza. Over 17,000 are now completely alone, unaided, or separated from their families. Children in Gaza face a deadly triple threat right now. Cases of disease rise, nutrition plummets, and the escalation in hostilities reaches 121 days today. The suffering is incomprehensible, with more than 1,000 children enduring amputations without anesthesia. Our moral obligation to the well-being of children extends beyond our borders. We have the power to be a beacon of compassion, proving that Las Vegas stands for justice, empathy, and the well-being of our global community. If we don't fight for the children here in Las Vegas, and we don't fight for the children in Gaza, what are we doing as human beings? I urge you, members of the City Council, to champion a ceasefire resolution that redirects our funds towards healing and nurturing the mental health of children right here in Nevada and giving the children in Gaza a chance at this one life. Let us be remembered not just for the lights on the strip, but for the compassion in our hearts and the positive change we bring to the lives of those who need it the most. The time for action is now, and the legacy as a city that cares hinges in the balance. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Greeting of peace. I am Dr. Aziz Edabar. I retired from Los Alamos National Lab, and I am currently a imam, a clergy for the Muslim community here in Las Vegas. Honorable members of the City Council, your decision today holds the responsibility of determining whether our foundational principle of humanity, freedom, and democracy are not just ideals, but tangible realities. The true measures of our commitment lies in valuing every human life, regardless of color, race, or any other distinction. 121 days and 75 years marked by oppression, apartheid, and colonization. We're confronted with a stark reality. More than 27,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed in 121 days. Killed and lost forever. This prolonged suffering, collective punishment, starvation, denial of basic means of survival for 2.3 million people calls for a collective introspection on the essence of our humanity. South Africa, as you may know, who itself suffered from apartheid and was able to build a harmonious society in which black and white live finally in harmony. South Africa's decision to bring a case to the International Court of Justice emphasized the gravity of the situation. It serves as a reminder that the world is watching and the choices we make today will echo throughout history. Let this not be just a regular another meeting, but a defining moment where our commitment to the principle that underpin our society is reaffirmed. May our decision today stand as a testament to the unwavering belief that every human life is valuable, and our dedication to justice knows no bounds. Let's call to an end of the killing, destruction, and displacement of millions of Palestinians. Let's advocate to end an end to apartheid, urging for all people to live in peace with equal rights and respect for all human lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment? If there's others, if you could line up, and then we're going to make it a 2-minute time limit, but if there's others who'd like to speak, if you could line up at the microphones, that'll move us along. Thank you for being here. Please.
Good morning. My name is Celeste Ainsley. I live in Las Vegas in the 89118 zip code. As a Jewish American, I want to remind all of you of a Jewish anti-Zionist perspective. I would like to be a person that informs the council that the Jewish faith has a concept called tikkun olam, which translates to healing the world. I urge you to recognize that the genocide in Gaza is absolutely contrary to such a concept. And I deeply request you to listen to my comrades and recognize a ceasefire policy. Thank you.
Thank you. There are 3 microphones. If you could line up, that'll move us along. And before you get up here, state your name for the record. Thank you.
My name is Grace Trujillo. I know that a lot of people are talking about ceasefire and also talking about the well-being of the kids and the children. But let us think about this. What is the most important thing is safety and knowing what the cause first. Christians and Israel has been always supporting Arabs. The Arabs are living in their country. I've never seen any Arab nation help any Palestinian. They closed their borders when there was the war, even before the war. They don't let anybody in their country. If a Jew goes to an Arab nation, they are killed. If an Arab goes to an Israel, they're not harmed, but they get a job. The people in kibbutz, I have friends who went there and are also got killed during the war. What they're doing is not hurting people. They're trying to protect their borders. If we are doing that for people in Israel and not supporting them, what kind of nation are we to dictate, to stop somebody from all these bills? Hamas is the one doing those to their own people. It's not Israel. Their right to defend themselves is their own right, the way we are defending our own. So we cannot dictate that to them. They're not the one who did this. They're the one who came to their country.
Thank you.
Okay, so I urge you, as a nation, American nation, please, without Jews, we are not a nation like this.
Thank you.
Members of the City Council, my name is Mariel Akak. I live in the zip code 89147. I'm a healthcare worker and organizer of a local arts and music collective. I became aware of the oppression of the Palestinian people and long-standing conflict when I visited Palestine during a ceasefire in 2009. My sister and I stayed with her Palestinian host family from her study abroad program, and what I saw there was jarring. At the time, the Israeli government was threatening to limit water supply to Gaza to 1 day a week, and since then they've regularly cut off resources to the area. People were being forced out of their family homes to make way for Israeli occupation. With walls 3 times thicker and taller than the Berlin Wall and checkpoints being the only means of being able to leave, Palestine is an open-air prison. The family we stayed with had innocent family members and friends killed by bullets and rockets sent from the IOF and casual spurts of violence. Luckily, the family we stayed with moved to the States and are safe, and many of the people they know are not. It has been 121 days since October 6th, and now over 27,000 innocent Palestinians have been murdered by the IOF. It didn't start that day, but events that occurred were used as a reason to escalate an already slow-simmering genocide. Many people were sent to declared safe zones only to be slaughtered there. A Palestinian reporting on social media declared that they have had one friend or family member dying once a week on average. Imagine that happening in your life. This has to stop, and we must join ranks with Chicago, Seattle, Atlanta, Akron, Albany, and dozens of other cities putting pressure on our government to end the funding and support of murdering the innocent people of Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Yvette Machado, zip code 89123. I'm here because we are all responsible for the consequences of whether we confront or ignore suffering. After today, none of you will be able to claim ignorance to America's role in the Palestinian genocide or claim solidarity with the oppressed while justifying it. And no one will be able to pretend that your constituents don't know about the large donations from pro-genocide lobby groups that keep Nevada's politicians at bay. Now that I have your attention, I pose a question. How many times have you had to stand in front of an audience to ask them to recognize the humanity and dignity of your community, or face the dehumanizing trauma of begging people to see you as their equal? Have you ever had to prove the subjugation of your community being classified as less than human and resort to sharing evidence of your loved ones slain, tortured, and brutalized just to get others to consider them as humans? Unless you're a member of a marginalized community, then it's safe to assume you've never experienced this. If you can relate, then hear me from that point of view. I'm here bartering with my dignity to ask you to recognize our loved ones, Palestinians, as humans. As your community members, we're living each day carrying the weight of genocide, witnessing it unfold. We are the parents seeing the faces of our babies in the faces of Palestinian children. We are children seeing our fathers in the men tortured by Israeli soldiers and finding our mothers' cries in the sounds of women holding pieces of their babies. We bear witness to this and then have to come here to ask you to acknowledge this genocide and confront the United States' role in aiding it at every level of government, while having to carefully remind you that these children are innocent civilians, as if their existence as just children isn't enough to imply innocence or warrant your empathy, as if being Palestinian requires more proof of the humanity you claim as inherent. How can any of us go on with our cognitive dissonance, living as if we deserve life more than they do? The right to life is endowed only by the Creator, and albeit manipulated by man, but the audacity to justify that manipulation unveils a twisted sense of supremacy. So I'm asking you to take ownership of your power, join the other cities in a ceasefire resolution, find ways to divest, and recognize that in our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jack Machado. I'm a local of this city, and I have been for many years. But first and foremost, I am the product of United States-funded genocide on the people of Guatemala. I'm currently a student in college aiming to be an educator. In the future, I'll be teaching future generations of children who live here in the Las Vegas community, and I'll be teaching them about this point in history. Whether you like it or not, future generations of children will know where we all stood. At some point, you must reflect on yourself and ask yourself if you continue to stand against the right side of history, mirroring past genocides funded by the US, or if you will stand up and join the other cities in a ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Natalia Tahir from zip code 89141, and I have been a resident of Las Vegas for 26 years. I am testifying for the Las Vegas City Council to write a resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza on behalf of myself as a medical student, on behalf of all healthcare workers who honor their oath to do no harm, and in solidarity with the 48 American cities who have also done so. At my white coat ceremony last week, I was proud to make a pledge as a member of the medical profession, reciting that I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be first consideration, and I will use my medical knowledge to protect human rights and civil liberties. I am blessed to serve my oath by being here with you today. I made the decision to return to my community here in Las Vegas after college to be able to reinvest in the community that invested so much in me, to improve healthcare worker shortages and erase health disparities. Healthcare workers in Gaza, too, have the same oath to their communities in Palestine, risking their lives in the process. Up to 300 healthcare workers have died in an effort to serve their patients, 27,000 of whom have been killed, and 67,000 who remain alive and injured without access to life-saving care and medical supplies, and with debilitating effects on their quality of life. I may never live up to the legacy these healthcare workers have left behind, but it is my duty to stand with them and their oath. A threat to their ability to do no harm is just as big a threat to mine and my ability to serve this community, my own diverse community. So I hope we can join the 48 other cities in the country who have taken symbolic steps to call for ceasefire. By doing so, City Council, you are taking a pledge for health justice and representing Las Vegas's commitment to humanity and human dignity.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Johnston. I stand with Israel. You guys know what happened October 7th when over 1,200 people were brutally murdered, women were raped, babies were ripped from their mother's womb. We stand with Israel as a nation because they are our ally. They have the right to defend themselves. Israel gave leaflets and notice to the Palestinians. We all love the Palestinian people. We love all peoples, but they have the right to defend themselves. From the river to the sea, that calls for the genocide of the Jewish people. In Nevada, we support our Jewish community. We have a long history with our allies, and we should support them. The ceasefire that these cities are calling for, these are the same cities with universities that will push hate crimes on our Jewish people. hate crimes. We cannot support, oh, you can disagree, but facts are facts. We have American hostages being held by Hamas. Israel has the right to defend herself, and we need to stand in support of that. I ask that with all the compassion and the love and the hearts for the people that are feeling the pain, we get it. But Israel is a sovereign nation by herself, and we are the ally, and we have been. So I urge you guys to listen. Thank you for listening to what everyone has to say here. But stand in support of Israel. It is the right thing to do. God will bless those who bless Israel and curse those who curse Israel. I thank you very much for your time. I pray for your wisdom and your guidance in all that you do. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mira Dani. I've been a resident of Las Vegas for 20 years. I too believe facts are facts, and I am testifying for the Las Vegas City Council to put a resolution up for ceasefire in Gaza. I have been a Las Vegas resident for almost 20 years. Having lived here for most of my life, I take a lot of pride in this community. Currently, I attend our medical school because I want to continue serving this city, just as my parents, both physicians of this community, have done for all of these years. I give you this background because I want you to understand that while many see this conflict as just global politics, my family and I, along with many others in healthcare, see the countless medical atrocities that are being committed in Gaza. Physicians in Gaza have been forced to abandon patients, including neonates. Individuals are undergoing amputations without anesthesia, and countless civilians have undergone similar medical horrors due to limited resources and access. 1 out of every 25 Gazans is either dead or injured. This is unacceptable. We cannot sit idly and watch. We have an obligation as a community, as a political body, to stand against inhumanity. My family and I work to serve Las Vegas, aiming to keep our community healthy and safe. It is time we as a city stand on those principles for others. Please help us constituents make our outrage heard and put up a resolution for ceasefire in Gaza. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michaela Grillo. I've been a resident of Las Vegas for 27 years. I'm testifying for the Las Vegas City Council to put up a resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza. I have been closely following what is happening in Palestine since 2016 and for the past 122 days. I've seen photos, heard stories, and watched videos of raw footage of what it is like to live as a civilian in Gaza. Day after day, my heart has broken 1,000 times over. I've seen almost 2 million people displaced from their homes. I've seen people lose so much weight from the blockade of food, there are indents carved into their cheeks. I hear stories of children who died from starvation. I've seen thousands of people lining up to get water and risk getting sick or dying from drinking that water because they cannot guarantee that it's clean. In addition to the deliberate displacement and lack of basic necessities by the Israeli apartheid government, Palestinians are literally being bombed. The Israeli military bombed their houses, bakeries, grocery stores, schools, hospitals, demolishing Gaza and all its resources while killing thousands of people. I have seen countless videos of what a United States-sponsored Israeli bomb does to a person's body. No one should ever experience that. The people of Gaza risk getting attacked with white phosphorus or shot by an Israeli sniper or killed by an Israeli airstrike just for existing. And the list goes on. For 75 years, the list goes on. Israel is committing war crime after war crime, and the world turns away. We cannot let this continue. It has gone on for far too long. We need a ceasefire now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dakota Heath. I'm a lifelong Las Vegas resident and a second-generation union sheet metal worker, part of Local 88 here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here today in support of a ceasefire resolution, speaking for people that had their homes violently stolen from them by Zionists over 75 years ago, and that this council may not think is a local issue. But members of this city council should be well aware that freedom, justice, and equality for everyone is not only a local issue, but a state, federal, and global one. 48 cities in the last 3 months have passed resolutions and put pressure on our government for aiding and abetting Israel in genocide. Las Vegas clearly took a stance when Israel's flag was flown in front of City Hall as they violate international law and actively continue their genocide and illegal occupation. Nevada is helping fund and prolong an occupation and a genocide to the tune of $36.4 million annually, and for every one person here today, there are at least 20 more that don't have the privilege to be here. And I can assure you that not just these constituents, but many of them have seen how the members of our city council have behaved during this genocide. The Las Vegas City Council members have received over 6,000 emails from residents of Las Vegas urging them to put pressure on Congress to move towards a ceasefire, to end military aid to Israel, to support a ceasefire resolution, and above all, to stand with their Muslim and Arab citizens during a time of heightened Islamophobia, hate crimes, and racism. While citizens of Las Vegas struggle to make ends meet, can't afford health care, become homeless, and fail to get a good education, Las Vegas sends $8.6 million annually to Israel to terrorize and murder innocent men, women, and children. I'm asking our city council to put pressure on our local and federal officials to call publicly for a ceasefire, to take immediate steps to de-escalation, to speak out against genocide, to help end the United States' complicity in this oppression, and to oppose further military funding to Israel. Remember that your constituents here and Americans across the nation are demanding a ceasefire, which is the bare minimum. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Hector Rivas. I was born here in Las Vegas, and I urge you to bring forth a ceasefire resolution, please. In just 6 days, the Allegiant Stadium will seat 65,000 people. Currently in Gaza, there are 66,835 wounded people. That does not include the people who have currently died. So I want you to think about those numbers when those people arrive and when you're at the stadium or when you're watching on TV, please, and do something, because there are an estimated $600 to $700 million that will be coming in. And I hope that we can, instead of continuing to fund these deaths and these injuries, we can help these people and put an end to this as soon as we can. I need you to understand that more than 10 children per day on average lose a limb in Gaza. And we need to have some humanity. We need to treat these people as people and stop pretending that this isn't happening. Please listen to your constituents and do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Haley Myers, Haley, H-A-I-L-E-Y, Myers, M-Y-E-R-S, and I have been a resident of Las Vegas for over 16 years, and today I'm here to urge the Las Vegas City Council to put up a resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza. As a person who was raised as a Christian in a Zionist household, I can understand how hard it is to move beyond your beliefs that are so deeply ingrained in everything that you are. We are fed so much propaganda and misinformation that it feels easier to turn away from conflict altogether. We don't want to be wrong, and we don't want to look foolish. But let me say this, you will not be wrong for supporting humanity. You will never be wrong for supporting the end of a war or the end of destruction, starvation, and ruin. You will not be wrong for supporting aid reaching families that desperately need it, medicine for children, clean drinking water for men, or menstrual products for women, things that we take for granted so often in this life. You won't be wrong for supporting a ceasefire, but history will remember you for being complicit in a genocide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for your time. My name is Daniel Henriquez. I'm a resident since the age of 7, graduate from UNLV, and I continue to live here, working in the financial sector with my family. I'm here to advocate for our city to end its support for the Israeli state aggressions on Gazan civilians. Unlike many of my fellow citizens, I will be focusing my arguments on the material and economic impacts on the citizens of Las Vegas. First, with the economic impact, beginning since 1999 with the glide path agreement signed by Bill Clinton, we have been funding the Israeli state military approximately $50 billion by 2018 and continue to fund by $3.3 billion a year, with an additional $14 billion after the attack on October 7th by Hamas. Despite recent failures of bombing campaigns in Afghanistan and Yemen, we continue to invest primarily in military responses without any tangible evidence that this has negated the threat of retaliation from radical groups in Palestine or neighboring states to our citizens. By October 19th, the U.S. had suffered injuries due to drone attacks in southern Syria. December 4th, a ceasefire comes to an end and the Houthis begin attacking our ships, impacting our commercial ability to maintain pricing stability. By January 11th, the report by the Pentagon has 130 reports in Iraq and Syria, and Houthis recommit to their attacks on our commercial ships. January 22nd, we lose 2 Navy SEALs off the coast of Somalia trying to intercept weapons to the Houthis. January 28th, last weekend on Sunday, 3 U.S. reservists were killed and approximately 38 more injured. I'm running out of time here, so I just want to emphasize that I do have some citations here if you would like to do your due diligence. But I hope that the narrative you take away from my statement today is that there is no economic or material incentive for this council to continue supporting the military, military incentive for this council to continue supporting the morally ambiguous defensive attacks on the civilians in Gaza. Went strong there at the beginning. Apologies.
Thank you. If you wanted to leave those with the clerk, we can incorporate those into the record. You said you had citations.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie Sipola. I've been a sole proprietor as an independent contractor in Las Vegas for 5 years, and I'm now a resident as of 6 months. I work in the spiritual and healing realm. I believe as humans we are capable of this beautiful quality called empathy, and lately I've come to see it as a drive to stand for humanity and, in fact, our survival. I have seen video after video of people in Gaza bombed, ripped apart, limbs missing, and children, so many children, crying for their parents who are nowhere to be found because they've been killed and left under rubble. I could continue to narrate the atrocities that has been playing out over 120 days in the last 75 years, but instead I'm going to ask you to connect with your body and place your hand on your heart if you feel. As your heart beats, so do Palestinians. Our siblings in humanity need us to replace apathy with deep empathy. Too many Gazans have lost their lives by the funding of our U.S. tax dollars. If we do not say ceasefire now, then we are responsible for the killing of over 25,000 innocent civilians unnecessarily. And as South Africa has collected over 9 pages of proof of genocidal intent by the IDF in the International Court of Justice, let the world know that Las Vegas calls for a ceasefire now so the people in Gaza can begin to heal from this madness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Alana Younger-Naughton. I'm 25. I've lived here for about 3 years now. I'm a student, I'm a teacher, and I'm a singer. Right now in Rafah, there's a woman named Bisan. Sorry. Her name is spelled B-I-S-A-N. If you haven't heard of her, please go look her up. I beg you, please go look her up. She is one of the first voices that I heard when all of this happened immediately after October 7th. She is one of the reasons that I know about all of this today. And I've watched her over 122 days as she's watched her home bombed, the schools that she went to bombed, the hospitals that she went to bombed, the streets that she walked bombed, the bakeries bombed, the cafes bombed, everything gone. In her bio on her Instagram, it says that she is a filmmaker, traveler, and dreamer, but she has been forced to become a journalist and activist by the simple nature of documenting what is happening to her day by day. In northern Gaza, they are eating bird feed because they have no food. They have no food. They are eating bird feed and they are running out, and they have nothing. She was forced all the way from northern Gaza all the way to southern Gaza on foot, basically. And I watched as she walked on foot with a backpack on her front and a backpack on her back during the civil walk in which innocent people raising white flags were sniped. Not accidentally, they were sniped. And this isn't just fancy rhetoric, there is video evidence and there is plenty of it. Her family, her friends, and her cats even are dead or missing. And right now she is in Rafah. Rafah is the last place. It is all the way south. They have systematically attacked every single section from the north to the south. They have forced everybody down. Please call for a ceasefire because people like her, they don't have much time left.
They have nowhere else to go.
Thank you.
Good morning. I also support the Council for Resolution for Ceasefire. My name's Maria Minich. I've been a resident of Las Vegas for just over 16 years now. I'm a field biologist. I work with the desert tortoise population and the conservation. But I'm also a world traveler. My conservation work has taken me around the world. I've lived in 6 different countries, and I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. So in April of 2019, I went to Israel and Palestine. I wanted to see the Holy Land, and I went to a college that had such a large Jewish population that we had Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur off as holidays. So I was really excited to go there, and I really enjoyed what I saw until I crossed the border into the West Bank. I stayed in a hostel in Ramallah, and there's a sign that says, please limit your showers to 3 minutes. And so when I asked the manager, why is that? He said, oh, we're 45% of the population, but we only get 5% of the fresh water. So this weaponization of water and food did not start on October 7th, and this has gone beyond people defending themselves. This is straight up apartheid. I saw it with my own eyes. And this continued when I went into the town of Hebron, and I saw Israeli settlers throw trash on the Palestinians who were there in the West Bank, the illegal settlers that were deemed illegal by the United Nations. So this has definitely gone beyond people defending themselves. This is straight up genocide with tens of thousands being murdered and food and water being weaponized. It's absolute cruelty. Las Vegas City Council should not support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Antonio Danchisi. I have been a resident of Las Vegas for about 10 years, about half my life. I'm testifying for the City Council here to put a resolution up for a ceasefire in Gaza. This ceasefire is crucial in order to stop a genocide in Palestine. It's a genocide for multiple reasons, beginning with food and water, and most recently UN RWA aid being held back by Israel. Many are at risk of dying from hunger, as some already have, and malnutrition. Many Palestinians have already died from indiscriminate bombing and collective punishment by the IDF, which, as I speak, the death toll is approximately at 27,000, and that's not including another 382 additional deaths in the West Bank. And most of these deaths include women and children, and there's also been about 66,000 injuries as well, along with an additional 8,000 people who are missing under the rubble. Not only have we lost lives in Gaza, but we also have drastic levels of damage towards property and infrastructure. About 50% of Gaza's homes have been destroyed or damaged, which is about 360,000 residential units. There has also been hundreds of educational facilities and places of worship that have been damaged or destroyed. Only about 13 out of 35 hospitals are currently functioning in Gaza, which are only partially functioning. Due to the overall collapse of the medical infrastructure in Gaza, there has been increases in outbreaks of measles, cholera, COVID, and hepatitis. These acts of violence and cruelty are unacceptable, and it needs to be put to a stop. And something that I would like to remind people is this is not just an advocacy for safety of the Palestinian people, this is also an advocacy of safety for the Israeli people as well. Benjamin Netanyahu himself has helped with funding for Hamas, and in his party and some of his meetings, he has clearly stated that his purpose of helping with funding Qatar back in 2018 was to strengthen Hamas, because a stronger Hamas gives him more of an excuse to only have a one-state solution, which is for Israel to take up the rest of Palestine. So at this point, what we need to do is to make sure that these attacks by Hamas don't continue like we saw on October 7th, because it was a horrific attack that did kill many innocent civilians. But the only way to stop this is not to continue violence, because it only gives reasons of fascism to continue within sectors like Hamas. So for everybody, we need to have a ceasefire now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, City Council members. My name is Melly Paluay, Mellylpalluay. I have been a resident of Las Vegas for 20 years. I am a registered nurse, a combat veteran of the Afghani War, and a constituent. I am testifying for the Las Vegas City Council to put a resolution up for a ceasefire in Palestine. As a registered nurse, I cannot fathom what it would be like to have to leave patients behind while being held at gunpoint, threatened to evacuate the hospital, and prohibited from returning. This is what IDF soldiers did to Palestinian nurses at Al-Shifa Hospital. Premature infants in the neonatal ICU were left in their incubators without any life-sustaining care until they were found days later dead and rotting in their beds. According to UNICEF, more than 1,000 children have had 1 or 2 legs amputated, most of which were done without anesthesia. I have seen these videos of these amputations and have heard these piercing, haunting screams of these children. Over 300 Palestinian healthcare workers have been killed since October, and most of Gaza's hospitals have been completely decimated. This is an unprecedented attack on the entire healthcare system and on some of Gaza's best and brightest scholars and humanitarians. As a combat veteran of the Afghani War and a member of Veterans for Peace, I am intimately aware of the immense suffering and loss of life due to war, and I stand here committed to upholding human rights and preserving the dignity of the Palestinian people. In 120 days, over 25,000 have been killed, 64,000 injured, an operation that is disproportionate in scale and impact to actual defensive necessities and realistic military objectives, and has been ruled a genocide by the International Court of Justice. 1.9 million Palestinian civilians have been displaced and are now living in tents, makeshift shelters, refugee camps. Forced displacement is a war crime. These camps have been subject to harsh conditions, flooding, winter temperatures, lack of electricity, heat, proper sanitation, famine, and starvation, and they face continuous bombings and ground attacks from Israeli forces. It is unconscionable for Israel to continue efforts to kill, harm, and displace Palestinians. It is also unconscionable for us to continue supporting them. As a constituent, I am aware that Israel and its military forces have been directly funded by our Nevada state taxes and federal taxes dollars for the last 2 decades. Please do the right thing and call for a ceasefire. When bombs are dropping on children, the only moral response is to do whatever we can do to stop it. Saving lives should be the utmost priority. A ceasefire will allow provision of urgent medical aid, food, clean water, and drinking, and supplies for surviving Palestinians. I urge you to do the right thing and call for a ceasefire now.
Thank you.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, council and audience. My name is Nathaniel Phillips. I'm a lifelong Las Vegas resident. I'm an educator. I've educated your children. I've helped take care of your children. I've helped politicians get elected. I really want to, my time's not running either. I really want to uplift the courage of folks who, thank you, who are here this morning to speak so poignantly and passionately about something so commonsensical as ceasing the dismemberment of babies at the raining of U.S.-made and shipped bombs to Israel. President Biden will have to answer in an election year for why over 20,000 bombs have been shipped from the U.S. of A. with taxpayer dollars to rain over innocent civilians in Gaza, the majority of which are women and children. An editor of one of Nevada's largest publications told me that everything these constituents and myself have been saying this morning is not central to Nevada politics. How daft that statement must seem after the International Court of Justice has found a plausible genocide in Gaza. The city of Las Vegas has potentially $1.5 billion invested in apartheid and occupation assets. And that's according to the Investigate database of the American Friends Service Committee, an organization I used to work for. An Israeli firm manages or helps manage our traffic management system in Las Vegas. Israel is a top 10 trading partner. The future mayor of Las Vegas put the issue of Israel squarely on the council, the future mayor of Las Vegas, very squarely in the council's radar when she joined with AIPAC and Sheldon Adelson donated organization to bring the anti-BDS law to the state of Nevada. So now, if the UN and the world decides to take sanctions and actions against Israel to stop the genocide, will it contravene Nevada law, like as well as the law pertaining to history and education of genocide, which officials in this state have gone out of their way to condemn Palestinians as not being subject to genocide or apartheid conditions in this world. So those are all the reasons that this is squarely before the council. We need a ceasefire to let our elected officials know where the city of Las Vegas stands. Thank you so much for your time. Councilman, you have an adopted brown child, and I hope you see the humanity of brown people in your own children as the same babies that are dying by U.S. bombs and complicity in Gaza. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tanya Gomez, T-A-N-I-A-G-O-M-E-Z. I've been a resident of Las Vegas for 20 years. I just want to say that You cannot call this a war if one side controls the other side's food and water, and the other side doesn't have an air base they can't leave. It's an open air concentration camp. I'm here because I care. I'm just a regular person. I don't have power, but I know you guys do. And I'm here because I have empathy and humanity. And I want you guys to look within yourselves and use the power that you have to call for a ceasefire resolution to help the Palestinian people. Over 20,000 plus innocent civilians have been killed. It's not just numbers, they're people with stories. They had ambitions, hopes, aspirations, they had futures, and they were all tragically cut short. Please look within yourselves and call for a resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? You will have the last word.
Hi. Sorry for the late start. My name is Victoria Vance. I'm a constituent. I grew up in North Las Vegas. My zip code is 89081. My mother was born in 1972. That was only a couple years after segregation ended. And I can't help but think, when I look at videos of people in the city of Hebron, where Palestinian people cannot travel where they want to go, their freedom of movement is limited. And when I hear stories of people in Gaza not being allowed to collect rainwater, the only thing I can think of is that the Israeli apartheid state is no different from the segregation that my family members had to grow up with. I cannot watch another child lose their entire family and have no one to help them. The people of Gaza have been bombed using our tax money. The state of Israel has been using white phosphorus that we have been supplying them, and I don't want our tax dollars to go towards killing children. Too many lives have been lost already, and I think it is important, I implore you, to actually push through the ceasefire, this call for a ceasefire, especially as President Biden is still in town or just left town. 60% of Democrats want a ceasefire. 50% of Republicans want a ceasefire. The American people do not want more children to die because our president isn't listening. I am begging you guys to help us as we make a stand to do a ceasefire resolution and join the ranks of major cities like Chicago. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you speak, is there anybody else who would like to speak? Okay, you will have the last. Oh, come on up. Go ahead.
Is that okay? There we go. Hello, Council. My name is David Beltran Barajas. I'm a lifelong Las Vegas resident. I've been here 29 years. This has been my home, and I'm here in front of you asking that the city of Las Vegas take on a ceasefire, ceasefire resolution, right? I'm not as eloquent as many of my fellow citizens here, but I can see that what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. I have seen people suffering and dying for the past 121 days. This is shattering my soul, and I desperately am asking that the city of Las Vegas stand on the right side of history and ask, for like many other cities in this country, ask for a ceasefire resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Dear esteemed members of the Las Vegas City Council, my name is Aisha Mehdi. I'm an attorney here in town. As a dedicated Las Vegas resident and passionate advocate for the well-being of our city, I am speaking to implore to you to take a bold stance by issuing a powerful statement calling for an immediate ceasefire in this conflict. Our beloved city, known for its rebellious spirit rooted in the Wild West, has always been a beacon of independence. Today, we have the opportunity to use that spirit to convey where Las Vegas stands on the matters of global significance. amid our diverse community, which has a vibrant Muslim and Jewish population, we are witnessing an alarming rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. This is not merely a matter of religious concern, but a fundamental question of humanity. The current war puts all of us at risk, transcending religious affiliations and threatening the very fabric of our shared existence. Let us be on the right side of history. Tomorrow, when we reflect on these times, I urge our city to send a resounding message in support of love and peace. By joining the ranks of many U.S. cities that have already called for a ceasefire, Las Vegas can make a significant impact on the collective effort to end the senseless violence. In these challenging times, I pray for your leadership and implore you to use the influential voice that our city, the fabulous Las Vegas city, to advocate for an immediate and lasting ceasefire. Together, let us stand united in pursuit of a more peaceful and harmonious world. And I want to end, I'm a mother as well. For the last couple of days, it's been raining in the city. My son is 3 years old. He is scared of the rain. He cries when there's thunder and there's gray skies. And I can't help but think of the children in these war-zoned areas like Gaza, how this is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. So please, I implore you, as a constituent, please vote for a ceasefire. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. In response to open public meeting laws, we are not able to comment. However, I know the councilwoman and I heard every single word that you said. We commit to bringing the messages back to the rest of the city council. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and energy. Please drive safely out there. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Excuse me. Hi. Can I give you something for the record?